But first, we're going to talk about mindset. Because if you don't have a good, you copywriters know this, and probably anybody who's an entrepreneur knows this. If you don't have the right mindset and you try to create something, it doesn't work. Crap comes out. It does not work, especially with copywriting, because you're creating something that's your essence and your emotional self out there. You've got to be in a good space. And I got to tell you, the mindset piece hasn't been something that I've really actively taught much before. I'm not an expert on how, I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not going to get you, all in a fever. But I'm just going to tell you some of the things that I use to get myself in the right state of mind. And some of these are new. I haven't shared them with anybody. So one of the things, and these are, they're listed in your binder as well. You can follow along. And I also want to think about, as we're going through these, some of the things that you guys do to get in the right mindset, because this is a really cool group. I know you guys have ideas that I don't have. The first thing is to take care of yourself first. Like in an airplane, they have the oxygen mask. If you're traveling with your child, you're supposed to put it on the mother first. That's so you can take care of other people. If you don't take care of yourself first, if you put your health, your well-being behind everything else, it's going to suffer. So take care of yourself first. Yes, the attitude of gratitude. I first heard this from Mark Victor Hansen, the attitude of gratitude phrase. But every night before I go to bed, I think of 10 things that I'm grateful for. And it can be sleeping in a warm bed. I love those little teddy bears. Those of you who are staying at the hotel. I'm not a big stuffed animal person, but those teddy bears are so cute. And I was thinking, I was snuggling with it. I do have my own teddy bear. I do. But just little things, whatever it is, just remind you. Because you know what? You can't be in a place of fear and a place of love and expansion at the same time. So if you are grateful for things, it rubs off. Affirmations, saying positive things. I'm not an expert in how to explain what an affirmation is. All I know is I have little Post-its all over my mirror about what things I want to change in my life, how I want my life to be different, and I visualize it as if it's now and in the present. And this visualization, I've known a lot about visualization for a long time, but I've started reading Psycho-Cybernetics. And Dr. Maltz has a visualization exercise that he calls the theater of your mind that works really well for me. It's a little different. Have any of you read Psycho-Cybernetics? It's what he says, and it's a very charming piece written like in the 60s. So he's got this old-timey kind of voice, and don't cry in your soup, dear child, those kinds of sweet phrases. But what he says about the theater of your mind is that when you're visualizing something that you want to be in your future, to actually take yourself into a theater and create it on a movie screen. Now, maybe that works well for me because of the acting thing. I don't know. But it actually made it much more real for me rather than having a visualization just out somewhere. It put it in perspective for me. So I really liked using that, and I've been doing that a lot lately. And writing out your success history. I've done this with my Elite Platinum group. I've had them write out the successes that they've had their entire life. Not just, the successes that you've had over the past year or something, but go back to when you were 3 and you were tap dancing, and go back to when you won valedictorian. Whatever it is, it's amazing how when you start remembering your successes, no matter how little or small they are, it lifts your vibration. It changes something. And when you look at how far you've come, it's really easy to go, yes, I can do it. I can go farther again. So write them out, and when you write stuff, it becomes real. So it's important to write it out. And your top 20 lifetime goals, again, writing them. It's fine to think them, but when you write them, it makes them tangible. Is that what I have? Oh, yes, and the visioning board, which we're going to be doing on our Elite retreat you guys, but, but those guys, we're going to create a visioning board. But you're welcome to do this on your own, where you just have like a big piece of poster board and you cut things out of magazines and that you want in your life and you stick them on there. You know, when I was in high school, I was in a beauty pageant, because that's what you did back then in the South. You're in beauty pageants. And they had a swimsuit competition, and I felt like I needed to lose some weight because I was a little hippie. And so I cut all these pictures out of swimsuit catalogs and the women's magazines. I didn't know what visioning was, but I actually lost like 15 pounds just by looking at that every morning. And it's so effective. It's amazing when you focus on something, how it actually appears in your life. So a visioning board's cool. And then calm body, calm mind. This is something else I got from Dr. Maltz, where you can't create unless you're in a state of calmness. Like when you're driving down the road and you get really cranky, like my husband, and you get all uptight and your shoulders get up here, and it's very hard to be in a creative space. So if you just mentally tell yourself calm body, calm mind, and relax your body. It takes a little practice, but that's one of the other things that I've been doing. So I would actually like to hear some of the things that some of you guys do for mindset. Do we have a mic? Just to get into that creative space. He wants to, the sea lion wants to pipe up. Exactly. He goes for a swim. Yes.
When you were speaking of the theater of the mind, I was reminded of an audio set that I listened to recently, and that was the Silva method of mind training.
Okay.
And very similar to that is they refer to it as a laboratory. And they say do that exercise and create your laboratory, and that's the sacred place you go to every time you're creating. And so it's familiar, it's not new every time.
Right.
And it's what you create is what's important to you, and to surround yourself with the things that comfort you.
Great.
And I love that. So.
Yeah, it's very visual. Look at those guys swimming. Go ahead. Yes, thank you, Mike.
I tend to be very analytical, and I wake up very early in the morning, so by 5 o'clock, my mind's already racing and 20 things are going on. So one of the things that I try and do is slow myself down at the beginning of the day. And what I have found works well for me is remembering that I'm energy, the universe is energy, and it's all supporting me in what I want to create going forward. And I find just holding that attitude allows me to sort of, having woken into my body, still relax rather than feeling like, okay, my muscles are going, I've got to race ahead. So
that's great. You know, say your first name as you're speaking. I'm going to come back.
Hi, I'm Kat. Mark Joyner has a program called Simpleology that is really helpful for someone who has a brain full of all kinds of things. And
nice.
One of the best things that I use, it's a whole system. It's free, too, actually, Simpleology 101.
Nice.
But one of the first things I do in the morning is a brain dump. And I just sit and write everything that I'm thinking that needs to be done, because what happens is I carry that stuff around in my head, and it's always distracting me. So take a look at it.
Excellent. Good, Kit.
I'm Kit. One of the first, just about the first thing I do in the morning is to arrange my physical and mental and spiritual energy so that I can access both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously. If you want to, we can do it right now. It's so quick and truly,
let's do it.
It's a power tool.
Let's do it.
Okay. Indentations under the clavicle. I don't know acupuncture, but these are the K27 points. These will overcome the flight or fight response. This sequence will be the 3 thumps, so you do this, just massage it. Okay. Middle, the thymus, kind of the Tarzan thump. Spleen points under the arm for women, about the bra line. Can be done in a matter of seconds.
Guys can find it too, I'm sure.
Very powerful. Middle finger in the navel, other middle finger, middle of the eyebrow, third eye chakra for those of you who think about chakras. And then just hold it. If you need it, you will feel it. If you didn't need it to reverse your polarity, won't hurt you.
I felt it.
Yeah, I felt it.
Will you write this up for us?
Pardon me?
Will you write this up for us?
Absolutely, I
Thank
will
you.
write it up. And what I have found in terms of emotion, if I'm starting to go into an emotional spot and it's not convenient to cry, if I can do this, it will pull me out of it instantly. The last one that truly is powerful, cross your ankles, cross your wrists. Just sit here. If you need it, you will feel a shift. It can be done in meetings by crossing your leg and putting one hand kind of in the instep and the other below the knee. Think of an X.
Nice.
Visually, that's the visual. Then the last thing is just, it's called Cook's Hookup. I do that before I get out of bed in the morning, and it makes all the difference in the world in terms of efficiency.
Thank you, Kit. Wow. That's cool. Did you have something, John?
One of the things I like to do, and I also teach this, is to regenerate our energy. It's a very, very simple concept. Most of us, when we think of energy, all we do is we think of sleep. Almost whenever the subject of energy comes up, particularly in a health context, we default to sleep, and we don't understand the difference between sleep, rest, recovery, and rejuvenation, all of which are distinct from one another, and they all work together as a system. So like, for example, during the day, you filled your glass up at night with sleep. But in today's day and age, we're putting out an immense amount of energy output. So you've been generating a lot of energy, but you're actually spending it. So during the day, you have to remember that if you don't manage that energy well, you're going to have an empty glass by noon. And then the rest of the day, you're in a malaise. And you're like, God, I can't get it together. And then when you're in that space, it's like, what did I do wrong as a child?
Yeah,
what deficiency do I have? You start going into all these crazy things when, in fact, if you just stopped, went outside, took a walk, gave yourself a chance to regenerate, all of a sudden the whole course of the day changes. So that's a tip of the iceberg, and a good example to use for that is don't underestimate the idea of closing your eyes, even right there at your desk, for 90 seconds. Because you can regenerate more energy in 90 seconds just by closing your eyes, because 75% of our energy expenditure goes through our eyeballs when you're processing information. So if you stop, calm down, just regenerate, sometimes go out for a walk, do something like that, but actually close your eyes. In 90 seconds to 3 minutes, you can completely change the course of your day.
Wow, thank you. I knew talking to you guys would be, yeah, there's some people in the back, and we'll come up, yeah. Try to keep them succinct. These are great. So there's a lot of people.
If you close your eyes and let go of your thought, don't judge it, whatever it is that's got you, and then focus on your breath. And you'll notice that the thought that's pulling you is not the one that's focusing on the breath. And if you focus on the breath more and really kind of get into it, you can start feeling yourself expand with your in-breath and kind of contract. And it puts me in touch with my life force. It's really nice.
Very cool. Thanks, Savvy. Vicki? So stay in the move around. Oh, excuse me. We'll come back to you, Vicki. Kyle?
Really simple. There's a company called HeartMath, and I don't know, a couple years back I was coaching people, and they were so stressed out. I was like, Don, all we're doing is managing the stress in their lives, and I ended up at a woo-woo table because I was so woo-woo. Well, the other guy that was there was the CEO for HeartMath, and I was thrilled because it's so simple, and it's actually backed up with all the science. So the basic fundamental is by actively focusing on the area around your heart with first a couple deep breaths, and then you literally just focus on your chest area. And I have like a few really cool thoughts that always make me feel good, and my favorite is a sequoia tree. If I sit under a sequoia, I'm like blissed out, like wow. So I'm immediately in a positive, more than positive, it's a really joyful feeling, appreciation, love. And you do that for less than a minute. You'll de-stress your system, your body actually starts to release DHEA, which is this huge long word, which is really just the longevity hormones that we all want so we look gorgeous for the rest of our lives.
Yes.
And we stop secreting cortisol. So it's really simple, it's really quick, and it works. Awesome. So you can sustain it, you can do it for a long time, or you can do it like when I was writing and I was flipping out. I was like, I can't do this. And it was great. I thought, I teach this and I'm using it.
Awesome. And how do they find out more about HeartMath?
Heartmath.com. You can go to my website. Go there. Because I'm a practitioner, but they have all the research. It's really phenomenal. They've been doing the research for the better part of 20 years, just under 20 years. And it's really cool.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Part of what I do for business travelers is to engage them in every technological device known to man or woman. Stop by and see some of my toys later on. But when I get overwhelmed, what I do is get out of the house where I work, where work never leaves you alone, and I go to my favorite restaurant with my little book. I don't know how many of you keep journals like this. I'm not a journal person. I write for a living, so writing more doesn't really thrill me. But there's something about just making a list, getting out of your usual workspace and just making a good old-fashioned list and being able to cross things off that is so satisfying. Also, when I'm out of my work environment, all those things that are driving me crazy, I then can push everything else aside and just start writing lists. And it's so stress relieving for me. Then I can go back to my office and I know what to work on first.
Awesome. Thanks. And Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and actually I do full journaling, and I find that if I do that in the morning, if there's anything that all that is bothering me or holding me back, if you write that, it kind of releases it and lets it go, which is fantastic. And then I'm so excited that you're doing visioning board with your elite group, because I do something called the Illustrated Discovery Journal, and I've done it for about 8 years now. And I try and do a page every month, and when you go back and look, it gives you some real introspect to what you've been doing and where you're going.
It's like scrapbooking on a whole higher level.
It is. And at first I thought it was kind of weird, but it works.
Yes, yes.
Weird's good.
Discovery Journal.
I don't have a consistent every single day doing the same thing, but about 3 days out of the week, mine is just so simple. I walk about 1.5 miles, and I have a little tiny coffee place near me. I walk up there. I just take something to read, and I just give myself my own time. And when I do that, it's not necessarily one thing or one exercise, but after raising 3 kids by myself for a very long period of time, that is what works for me. It works for me better than even a lot of the exercises, just to get my mind out of my space.
And movement also is a good...
Getting the blood flowing and getting the oxygen into your blood is huge, but that's what I do. And then when I do start to write, I have just a background CD that I put on that's music. Certain kinds of music get my mind into being creative.
It's interesting. Harry Marshall listens to like hard rock. Like he says that he's got to get into this like up level energizing. I can't listen to like really loud music. I'll listen to this Tibetan music that's very mellow, and then I have to turn everything off for me to write. But people have different processes, which is
After I get there, then I've got to have it quiet.
But that's the thing. Everyone has different processes. That's why you're going to take what works for you and leave what doesn't. Is there anybody else? Vicki in the back, and then we'll move on to our next. The business Buddha definitely has something.
I got the mic again.
Uh-oh.
Okay. So as a card-carrying flaming Virgo, I love to make lists. So I like you.
It's Thule.
Power to the Virgos.
Happy birthday, ladies.
I don't have birthdays. One of the things that I discovered, because I love gadgets and little geek, I'm a total flaming techno geek, and I love it.
Okay.
And the one thing that I noticed that really helps me when I need to get creative, it's time to start turning the juices on and start moving, is I need to either be by water or I need to move. I need motion. And ironically, getting in my car and driving really helps. So I'm moving, and I might be listening to the radio, I might not be, but more importantly, I'm moving. It's very strange. But as you know, writing and jotting things down while you're moving is potentially dangerous.
Yes, it is.
I saw this on a movie. I'm not kidding you. I went to eBay and I looked for it and found it. And this is a pen recorder, and we talked about this on our call.
Yes.
And I tracked it down, and I'm also a Macintosh person, so I can vouch that this works on Macs as well. It actually is a USB drive. And so I can, okay, whatever. whatever. Timing's everything. It comes apart and it plugs into your computer and it automatically turns it into a WAV file. So you can listen to it immediately, and you can lay it on the table, but it's got all these light up buttons and it's pretty obvious it's
My
on.
husband just got real excited.
So what's nice about this is you can take it with you when I go for a walk or I'm in the car and I just hit the record button and I just start talking. I tried the iPod recorder, but that, I heard bad feedback, so I thought, well, I won't go down that road, but I need motion, and this is actually phenomenal. And it recharges by plugging it into your computer, so.
Are you selling that?
I am not knowing.
You're so cute.
I went on eBay, and it's called a Spy pen recorder. I kid you not. So
great.
A Spy pen recorder, my Spy pen, and this is 1 gigabyte. They have
Wow.
2 gigabyte, which is a tremendous amount. You don't really need that much, but I really wanted this to be at one of the tables at John Carlton, and see if he'd notice it. But I'm kidding. No, this is just an invaluable tool. It's just been terrific. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So.
Thank you.
What was this? $59. It was $59.
Wow.
Yeah. And so.
Such a deal.
Yeah. Right. So anyway.
All right, thank you. Thank you, guys, all of you. I knew you'd have great ideas. Thank you for sharing.
How do I not have one of those?
You'll have one by the end of the day.
I promise by tomorrow I will
know.
have bought one.
He
I
will.
am a big fan of the brain dump and lists, so I carry around my pocket PC wherever I go. And now I'm getting one of those. Oh, we're getting 2 of those. So my company is suddenly going to have a new tool.
Exactly.
You'll be lucky to get it back.
And I wanted to say also, one of the reasons that we're at this beautiful spot is because of Vicki and Kate, because they're water hounds, and it's a creative atmosphere when you're by the water. It was a deliberate choice to be here. So yeah, thank you guys.
That is a great point. Well, you're on that subject, because everybody in the room knows where we're at, but the people who may see the DVD are wondering what all these weird noises are. Boats going by and dock hands on PAs and seals and seagulls. If we can just pan, there we go, I gotta move. Production saying move out of the way and I'll get that shot. That's what you're hearing for those of you at home going, what is that weird noise?
Thank you for the clarification. All right, so now, guys, we're going to jump into the workouts, the turbocharging your copyright. No, we're not. We're going to talk about the sales letter first. All right, this is the sales letter process. Real quick, I'm going to show you where you plug copy into your internet sales marketing process. Why I call the sales letter the center of all copy. In your binders, you have a blue laminated sheet that you can pull out. That's the sales copy wheel. That's what I call it, because the sales letter is the center of all the copy, but it doesn't work on its own. You can't just stick a sales letter out in the middle of nowhere and expect it to work. There's lots of things that you need to do to get the sales process cranked up. Now, first of all, obviously you have to have the copy. You have to have the sales copy in the center. Then next, Kat, what do you have to do next? Kat, Seda, what do you do next? Search engine marketing. Search engine marketing. You do search engine, you do pay-per-click. You get people at your site. You get people to the sales letter because you want to convert those people into customers. You got to have them first. So there's lots of ways you can drive traffic. You can do online, offline stuff. Email is the way I built a lot of my own traffic. But email's harder and harder to get through, as you guys probably know. So you got to start looking at alternatives. These are just a few. There's other ones too. Postcards, real inexpensive, and you can't not be seen. Even if they throw you away, they look at it. They have to. Even for they register for a moment. Faxes and flyers. Dan Kennedy is a big preacher of faxing people, and I used to laugh at him. Thought, you old dinosaur, come on. Turns out he's right. That you can actually get faxes through where you can't get a lot of other information through. You can do a hard copy sales letter, what we're going to write over this weekend, the foundation of it. You can create a more concise version. You have to start thinking about printing costs and things. For example, I didn't do it this time, but last time I sent out a hard copy of the Speed Copywriting Workshop sales letter to a select group of people in the local area. And online, the letter is about 18 pages long. There's graphics, there's testimonials, there's things that make it that long. But when I printed it as 8 pages. So you can make it more concise, but you can repurpose what you're doing to reach people in a different manner. And the funny thing about getting something in the mail is that they'll take it and they'll go with them. They'll take it with them to, to the bathroom or to different parts of the house. Whereas with your computer, you're just right in front of your computer, so you're a little limited. So it gives it a tangible presence when it's hard copy. And there's pay-per-click, which Kat Seda is a expert at. And so is Perry Marshall, who will be speaking with us this afternoon. So you want to drive traffic to your sales letter. Now, once you get them there, you want to get them to opt in. You want them to give you some information so you can get in touch with them again. You can do this with the squeeze page, some of which we talked about with the John Carlton, but does anyone not know what a squeeze page is? Do we know what those are? A squeeze page is when you land on just a little mini page. There's not a lot of scrolling. There may be a few bullets, and they ask for your information. They ask for your opt-in, and you can't get to any other information until you give them that information. That's one way to force the opt-in if you've got their interest. The e-zine or a blog. E-zine was how I built my list too. Again, email is a lot harder to get through now. Blogs are they're doing a lot of the work that e-zines used to do. There's a whole subculture with blogs. Still learning about those. They're pretty big. Free reports, offering something free, given like an ethical bribe. You give them a free report. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a white paper. You can call it, what are some of the other names? Sharon, was the... action plan. Action plan, that's good. Reports are kind of... Yeah, reports, that word has become a little like salesy. We all know kind of what they're doing now. So if there's other ways, other names, but giving them some information that's free that they would otherwise have to pay for. Susan has an audio course, right? So you can do, yeah, yours is like an audio course. Yes. So, but you deliver it in audio. So they're what you can deliver in video. There's other ways you can do it, but get them to give you their name, their email information in exchange for something free. A free e-course, that was another thing that I did to build my list. It's a copywriting e-course over a 7-day period, which is actually a pretty good e-course. I get a lot of people still signing up for it. You can get it at my site if you haven't. It's just reminds you of all the stuff we're learning here. Once you have their opt-in, ultimately you want to get them to the order page. And the copy around the order page is, this is assuming that you have had success, that you've got the order, whatever that order is, whatever your success is. Once you get it, you have to write a confirmation email that, okay, this is what you ordered, this is what you can expect. You're going to need copy for those kinds of things. You want to resell them. You're always reselling them because you never know when things are going to fall through. So you always want to reiterate that they've made a good decision. The landing page is the page, once you click order, you're redirected online to a landing page which will either tell you what you've done, which is the confirmation email and the landing page information can be the same or it can be different. I can tell you lots of little tricks about how to upsell on the landing page, but I don't want to get off track yet, so I will do that later. Testimonials. Testimonials should be everywhere. People want to know that you have helped other people. And it speaks for you. It's that third-party endorsement. They brag about you. So you want those on the order pages as well as everywhere you can get them. And if you have one, a guarantee, just remind them that they have a way out if they want to. If you don't have one, obviously don't put it there. Next in the sales copy wheel is follow-up. You've got them to order, you've got their name, you're going to be able to market to them, so you want to keep marketing to them. And one of the things that you want to do is prepare with copy a stick letter. And a stick letter is just reminding them they made a good decision. Again, You're reselling them again. We're so happy that you ordered our yellow widgets. You're going to be thrilled when you start seeing how much money you're going to be making, how much healthier you are. And be sure to turn to page 26 so you can see what exercise to put into action right away. So get them, and that's actually instruction on product consumption, but that can be in this stick letter. These are all places you're going to input copy in your sales process. Also in your follow-up, you may not do this right away, but they're real excited when they have your widget. So this is a good time to say, you know, you've had my widget for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. How's it working for you? Start asking for testimonials and build that part of your copy. That's something you have to actively do, is constantly be getting the feedback. Sometimes people will just unsolicited give you testimonials. Probably a lot of you have those, right? But why not just take the extra time and say, look, and I'm going to give you a template. We're going to cover how to write a good testimonial later. And an upsell, because you're in marketing, guys, you always have to think of what's next. What else is next? So you should always have another back end of some sort. And finally, test and improve. You want to have a checklist of elements to test. The main element that you can test is your headline. It's real easy to, I won't say it's easy, but it's quick to write a headline. And you can write different headlines and just put them side by side, see which one does better. Which one does better is your winner, and the other one is your loser. Then keep putting them side by side, testing your headlines. It's the most easy element to isolate. But when you start testing, I have to warn you, because I made this mistake myself, don't change a bunch of stuff and because then you don't know what's working. Because I hated my old sales letter, and I changed everything. I took my picture off, I changed the opening, I changed the bullets, and it started working, but I didn't know why. So just isolate one element at a time. Headlines are good, openings are good, with a picture, without a picture, your offer itself, the price, those kinds of things, but just pick one at a time. And then you're going to split test those things. I use, it's very basic, I just use my shopping cart to split test. It has how many people use one shopping cart or a version? Yeah, it's pretty popular online. I haven't found anything I like better, but they have an option where you can split test A and B. I think you can do C as well, but why? You just want to know which one's winning. And then you measure that improvement, and that's how you know what to change, what to keep, and what to get rid of. Kyle.
Does that mean you have two different sales?
Yes. Let us explain the split test. Thank you. A split test is like, let's say you have two sales letters, and you have them, they're going to rotate. Like I have on my site, I have my home study course. One is the copy 2 and one is copy 3. And the shopping cart automatically rotates the sales letters equally. So if you clicked on it, you may go to copy 2, John may go to copy 3. Every time you would click on it, you would always go to copy 2 because it cookies you. So it keeps repeat, you don't keep seeing a brand new sales letter. Whoever I get the most orders from, that's the winner. And so that's how I know. So that's a good question. And I have to tell you, you think you know, but you don't know until you test. Alexandria Brown and I did a teleseminar about a year ago, and maybe it was a year and a half ago. But anyway, we had our pictures at the top thinking, that's going to drive the traffic, like hot pictures, hot babes. And we had them without the pictures, and the ones without the pictures did better. We wouldn't have thought that because we've spent a lot of money on our pictures. But we were wrong. So testing is very important. Don't assume. Your market's smarter than you. That's what I learned.